you are doing a lot of prime moving. What do you want the clinician community to do for you?
At the first level, we want them to refer patients to these centers and to help their patients take advantage of this. At the second level, as we develop additional clinical trials, we hope to bring more and more practicing clinicians into the fold. In the United States, in the large cooperative groups, the majority of the patients aren't coming from academic institutions. They're coming from large groups of clinicians that are committed to studying the problem of cancer and collaborating with the academicians to do the trials.
Yes, so how do you cope with that fact that many patients are in the community and not necessarily in big studies, attending big centers of excellence?
Well, the point is that they can be in big studies, that there are groups in the community that have set up the infrastructure within their group and are willing to commit part of their profits to doing research and can produce the same high quality data in their practices as an academic clinician can do. Rich has a lot of experience in
I
that.
think one of the goals that we would have for WIN, and really any collaborative clinical trials group has, is to ultimately develop an infrastructure that can then be disseminated into a community practice setting. Because it is the case, certainly in the US, 80% of cancer patients receive their care in the community setting. I'm sure that's true throughout much of the world. I think that's always going to be the case because, you know, patients like to be treated closer to home. So if we believe that, you know, this type of precision medicine approach is what is going to be necessary to advance cancer care, then we have to figure out how to get the necessary infrastructure out of the big academic medical centers and into the community hospitals so that they can deliver a similar quality care. It's not a small feat. There'll be many challenges to doing that. I think it'll require lots of collaboration from you know, professional societies and guideline authorities and regulatory agencies and insurance companies and so on to make that happen. But I think it will have to happen.
And from an industry point of view, Richard, what do you think are the goals, the important goals, and the benefits to companies being involved?
Well, I think we're closely aligned with the points that Rich just made. You know, typically when industry is trying to develop a new drug, they have a drug and they're trying to do a test to see whether a patient is a candidate for that drug. And what we really need to be doing is a patient has a disease, what is the best drug for that disease? So that requires collaboration to do it efficiently. Testing becomes really important. There are a lot of community centers. We've seen with HER2 positive breast cancer, for example, over the years that there can be a great variation in how test results are reported, such that some women don't get to see Herceptin that should, and some people see Herceptin that shouldn't based on changes in tests. So within the trial that's been proposed and is going to start shortly, there'll be a centralized testing platform. Assuming we can establish the proof of principle of going after the target in the patient's disease, that information goes out and gets disseminated, and eventually I think it's most likely that we'll be working from a more limited number of central labs or establish platforms that are present depending on the size of the patient population that need to be served. So large academic medical centers may simply be able to use platforms they have or something that gets marketed in the future, but the community hospitals may not be able to afford that. But if a pathway is developed, you know where to send it, and you have drugs available in the marketplace, then that really won't change the end result of the patient being able to get treated closer to home.